Welcome to Beer Right Back, the lounge beer podcast. Today, on Beer Right Back, we have the first potpourri episode, where the three of us have all selected 2 beers each, and they're an amalgamation of styles and breweries and all sorts of different moods and feelings. So sit back. It's kind of a lazy day here at the lounge, so sit back, grab a random beer, drink along with us.
Today we're starting off with Stillwater Artisanal and Oliver Brewing collaboration. It's called Whipped. It's a nitro double India Pale Ale with mango, vanilla, and lactose.
Wow.
Looks hazy and juicy. Looking forward to it.
Yes.
Cheers. Wow.
Whoa.
What did you say that was? What was the first adjective?
Nitro. Double.
IPA. This is an IPA?
Yeah, and I didn't get it right up front, but then the whole back end to me.
There's an aftertaste of an IPA.
Yeah.
It hits you kind of hard at the end.
And then it kind of it bounces between pineapple and IPA really dramatically.
Yeah, really. It kind of comes in waves.
This is one of the smoothest IPAs I've ever drank.
Oh yeah.
Lactose and nitro will do that for you.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had a nitro IPA before.
I think this is the first I've had. This really is just a really juicy IPA that somebody was like, what if we made this into a creamsicle?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of flavors that aren't subtle.
Right.
For a double, it's kind of weak. But
I say I get the whole double. But it is almost
Juicy
all on the back part of your tongue,
I kind of see where they're coming from with the double thing, but it's I don't know. To me, it's double, but not just because it has a lot of the bitter chemical in it. It's kind of got that dankness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is an 8%, and I get every drop of that.
really? I
Yeah.
don't get that either. Am I dying?
Possibly.
I'm smiling
You
now.
look pale.
Is half of my smile drooping off to the side? I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't really see it. I think it does a pretty good job of hiding it.
See, it's I don't. It's the same thing as the hops. I don't get it and don't get it, and then at the very end, there's this little heat across my
Yeah.
tongue that is to me is just the giveaway.
Well, good for you. I'm glad that you can taste it, and I can't.
I can see now why they ask you to basically beat the hell out of the can before you pour it, and then you pour it really hard. Is because they're trying to get you to mix up a lot of these different elements that are heavier than others.
Right, and it kind of activates it brings out the nitro.
Oh, okay. But even after you've done what all you did, I'm still it's changing as I'm getting to the bottom,
Right.
quite significantly. It's starting to taste less and less bigger and bolder punches.
Right.
Now that I'm on kind of fifth sip.
This can comes has a little icon on it that says the can you can shake. Instructions are to gently shake the can to activate nitrogen. Open, then invert can over your glass and pour hard, which is pretty typical of these nitro beers. They want you to
Yeah.
Okay.
really drain it into the cup.
The one that I can remember is Nitro Merlin.
Right.
That asked the same thing. So
This can is kind of cool. I really like this design. It's kind of looks like the label for a Commodore 64
Oh yeah.
software
Yeah.
or something. It's this kind of old 60s vintage computer something.
yeah,
Reminds
it's
me of the Volvo.
yeah, your Volvo that you drive. That's
Yeah.
how they advertised it,
Yeah.
along with a DOS system
Yeah.
on the side,
Yeah.
right? Hey, two for one package there.
I am getting this really I really wish it was hoppier all the way through and not just at the end because I keep getting this almost gross this just explosion of hop in the back of my mouth, and it's the whole front half of the beer is really smooth and delicious, and then that hop comes on all of a sudden right at the very end, and it's kind of it leaves almost an unpleasant flavor in the very back of my mouth. But
I'm not getting any of that. For me, it's all smooth and hop, pretty equally distributed, and then it just kind of trails off with a little pineapple zest at the back end.
Yeah,
but-
are you? So you're done with final, Sean? Is it your mind is just clear now?
Yeah,
You're above the clouds.
I
you
can.
can see.
I already
the
know how
light.
these other beers are going to taste.
Oh, okay. The savant, I see.
I just pick them up and I go, oh yeah, that's going to be juicy.
It's all this engineering shit you need to get out of the way.
Yeah.
You've been walking around with 40-pound weights on your legs
Yeah.
for these first 10 episodes, and now you're like, oh,
It's like, do you guys ever watch the movie Lucy?
Lucy.
Is it Lucy? I don't know. Whatever that. It was Scarlett Johansson, and she's like the girl who like activates 100% of her brain.
Oh yeah,
Is that-
the pill that you take or something like that.
Well, it wasn't
that
a pill, but like it was some like surgery or some shit that
Oh.
she did. She was like smuggling drugs and they burst open in her or something. I don't know. And it's like suddenly she can like stop bullets in midair. And I was like, I'd like to hear how you think your brain is whatever.
And
Anyways.
the trailer for it is, we only use 20% of our brain, but what if she could use 100? And then she's like, like,
Isn't that even like, it's like not true at all?
That
that-
are like objectively false. It's
Yeah.
been proven repeatedly that that's not true. But yeah. Anyways, that was a really stupid movie.
really? Because it sounds like an Oscar
I'm
winner
gonna
to
spoil
me.
the end.
Yeah.
She turns into a flash drive.
What?
That's the end of the movie.
like,
She like all
A
of
physical
her,
flash
a
drive?
literal. She like all of her knowledge gets like boiled down into this. It's like this like black amorphous blob, and then like somebody comes later and it's just a flash drive sitting on the table, and it's like
What?
that's it. That's how that movie ends.
so what you're saying is if I drink a couple another of these, I'll be.
You
Oh,
will turn into.
Okay.
I better start chugging. Sean's already halfway there today.
Yeah.
He's activated for
Bartender.
sure. Yeah. Gives you powers.
Every time. I like this. I don't know if I get it a second time.
Yeah.
I'm kind of
I drink a pint of it,
yeah
and then I'd be done.
yeah.
Which doesn't mean it's bad, but 65.
60.
Am I the dick today?
40.
I'm gonna say 55.
Okay, so 60.
Yo, can you hand me a toothpick?
Yo, I can.
Yeah.
Do you want a multicolored one?
Hell yes.
A blue one, perhaps?
The toothpick itself is one color, but
Yeah. Have you ever had, I was talking to Jeremy about this the other day. Have you ever had a toothpick that's flavored?
Mhm.
They're very nice, aren't they?
yeah, I like mint.
Yeah, the
Mint
mint
ones are good.
and the cinnamon ones are pretty okay.
See, I don't like the cinnamon, but I like the mint ones.
Yeah.
I used to have this thing where to like keep me from biting my nails, I would always have a toothpick in my mouth, and I liked that, and it stopped me from biting my fingernails. But then I like read this thing about somebody who like inhaled a toothpick and it got
Oh.
lodged in their lungs, and I stopped
Oh,
keeping
shit.
toothpicks.
Stopped
in
using.
my mouth. I got clean.
He's off the wagon.
I read the same things about my girlfriend. She like brags about being able to down like a bunch of pills at the same time, just like these horse pills.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't even need water. Look at that. And I read an
That's-
article online about how if you don't take your pills with water, they can get lodged in your throat, and then
then
it burns
they
through your
erode.
esophagus or something, right?
Mine didn't burn through my esophagus, but it like burned my tongue.
Oh my
Hurt
god.
shit. And it was just, for me, it was like an ibuprofen. So I do not want to get anything else stuck to my
Yeah.
Jesus.
Well, sounds kind of lucky in that regard because your esophagus has like less nerves than your tongue, so people don't even know that it's happening to them. And it's like bad. It puts
It's-
holes in your
Yeah,
your
it's
throat,
awful.
essentially.
Yeah. And so I told her about that once. I was like, you're gonna destroy your esophagus,
Yeah.
right? Like you're fucking up your body.
Mm-hmm.
And now she takes her pills with water,
Thank God.
just like any other normal human being would.
That's yeah.
It's a weird flex, but okay, right? Like why would you brag about taking
Swallowing
oh
medicine.
wow, I can take like 6 pills one time with no water. Jesus.
All this time I'm saving.
See, I tried 7 and it burned through my esophageal lining, but 6, I'm totally fine.
Yeah. So that last beer was Sean's beer, the first of Sean's
Yeah,
beers.
so I don't know if we properly explained this, but we all picked 2 beers in this 6-pack.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got us a mystery beer, as well as we're going to have that Dark Sky beer
Yes.
that we mentioned last week.
Mm-hmm.
So
This is the second beer coming up. This is the beer that I picked. I have never had this beer, but what is it, Sean?
this is Strawberry Frosted Pastry. Double India Pale Ale with strawberries, cinnamon, and allspice. from Decadent, I've been seeing their stuff pop up at our local bottle shop, and I've been excited to try some. They make kind of interesting beers like this.
And they make very eye-catching logos. They just kind of pop off the shelves. You're immediately just drawn to them.
Yeah, I like the little, like, the dentures that, like, you wind up. It's like chasing what is that, a chicken?
I think it's a Pop-Tart. It's chasing a Pop-Tart.
Oh, all right. Yeah,
I think they tried to model... I think the idea is that this beer is modeled sort of on the flavor of what you would get out of, like, a cherry Pop-Tart or something, or a strawberry Pop-Tart.
And it's just not like a nice, like, Pink Panther pink, like, color gradient or palette in it.
It smells ridiculous.
It smells very good. I would recommend smelling your beer, Jeremy.
All right, gentlemen.
Cheers.
Cheers. Holy shit. What the fuck is this? Oh, that's not at all what I expected that to taste like. That's fucking weird.
Oh, man.
It tastes like a strawberry candy. It doesn't taste like real strawberries.
Like,
it tastes like artificial strawberry flavor, which is exactly the flavor that you would get in a strawberry Pop-Tart.
The cinnamon is what's blowing my mind right now.
It's very strong cinnamon.
This is like, I don't know, it's almost like offensive. Like,
Oh.
so much of it happening at once that it just like crinkles your brow.
It's a lot to take in at once.
Like,
Now, to be fair, I will... What did you give that beer last time? The salty orange zest, really boozy.
The Dark Sky.
Yeah. You gave
Parts
that beer.
Unknown.
You gave that beer an 85 or something. 83. That had a lot going on at once.
yeah, but this is like, this hit me like this was a slap
in
to
the face.
the throat. Like,
Yeah.
I'm warming up to it now, but
What an unusual flavor combination.
I can't even.
That's
like,
crazy.
If you like, if I had to like blindfold drink this, I couldn't even guess this is beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, this is apparently a double IPA. I not only do I not taste the double IPA, I don't taste the IPA, and I don't taste the beer. It's just
Yeah.
I love this. This is really good.
Oh, okay.
I really enjoy that. I just like, not only have I never had a beer that tastes anything like this, I don't think my taste buds have never experienced anything even close to this ever.
Yeah, this is completely out of the blue.
The flavor like keeps like the more you drink, the like more it kind of morphs too.
Yeah, there's like I don't know, on the exhale, in the aftertaste, it's like a weird like artificial kind of like incense. You ever like be in a room with a lot of incense?
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
It's cinnamon and then artificial strawberry flavor. It's like, you ever had those flavored Tootsie Rolls?
Yeah.
Those little tiny
The
ones?
ones you get when you go trick-or-treating and your neighbors are dicks and they get the cheapest candy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love those.
I like those a lot.
I do too. But
I like
they're
the lemon and the vanilla, and they're all really good. And there's a strawberry flavored one, and that's exactly how this tastes.
Yeah. With
Not the whole beer.
With cinnamon. Yeah.
With cinnamon.
Yeah, right.
That strawberry flavor is identical to that.
I'm not getting like any cinnamon in this.
Interesting.
This is why we have 3 people on the show.
Is it like an artificial cinnamon or like a true to life cinnamon that you're thinking of?
When I imagine artificial cinnamon, I imagine Fireball,
Yeah.
Oh.
and I don't get that in this.
Okay.
I just get like I just get cinnamon. So I tend to think this is more.
Yeah,
real.
I'd put this more in like, I guess, the artificial cinnamon category. This is really,
Wild.
yeah, for sure. God damn.
It's getting like more tame as I drink it, and I kind of don't like it. I wanted to go. That first sip was ridiculous. It was like out of this world.
Oh yeah.
Do you think that's just us getting used to it?
I'm sure. If you went and had a glass of water right now and came back, I bet it'd be
Just as zippy.
right back to it.
And maybe that's a bad thing. Maybe the flavors should stay consistent across. You're drinking a 16-ounce can of this.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have the first couple drinks be like, wow, this is great. And then it just dies on you.
Right.
I am at the very least very glad I had this.
Oh yeah. This is like palate expanding.
When
The
will
galaxy brain.
when will you ever have something that tastes like this again? Unless you just get this beer again,
Yeah.
Good job, Decadent.
Yeah, killing it.
And making
Yeah.
something unique at least. This is the first beer I've ever had from them. I've never had any of their other stuff. Isn't that time?
I believe it's that time.
I kind of want to go first just because I feel like
Go for it.
I think I'm gonna give this a 70, just because I don't know. It's like interesting and it's bold enough to like be like really out there, but I wouldn't go any higher just because it's like it's a little like
One off for you.
yeah.
I was going to say 75.
I'll say 75.
I think we were in the same ballpark then.
Nice.
Yeah.
That first sip, I would have been closer to like an 85, but then
Oh, really?
as it's just
Oh,
been like
okay.
steadily coming down from that.
That's funny. As I got used to it, I'm kind of like I'm warming up.
War-
To it.
yeah,
I can get
we started 40 points away from each other and ended up 5 points away from each other.
pretty much.
The smell is still really strong.
Yeah,
When you get your nose into your pint glass, it's still...
strawberry
I
all
kinda-
the way.
This is like one of the few times I want like a shaped glass, just for
Yeah,
that
like a
reason.
tulip or something.
Yeah, just to,
This is like a beer that a 5-year-old would make,
Yeah.
right? Strawberries and cinnamon and allspice and no beer flavor, like no hops.
and everything.
Here,
nice.
Dad.
Yeah,
I made
right?
this for you.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think the reason this was so ridiculous on the first sip was like the smell leads you to believe that this is just going to be like strawberry puree,
Yeah.
and then that huge hit of like cinnamon dulce de leche or like some kind of like oh shit I don't know like creamy with the cinnamon.
It's like a
I get what you
horchata.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is like if you made horchata with strawberry milk and then made a beer. It's or
Yeah.
didn't and just carbonated it.
The problem with having this beer here is that I feel like if I went to Wyoming or California or Boston or wherever, and I was on a trip and I went to some random brewery and they had that on tap and I got it and I drank it, I would be like, wow, this is one of the best, most interesting beers I've ever had, simply because of the environment that I'm having it in. Like, I went, like, this is a story. Like, I went to this brewery and they had like this strawberry cinnamon
You
shit.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah, right? But having it here, I think tempers it and makes you remind yourself that it is just a beer. And I could see myself unintentionally inflating the value of this beer if I had it on a trip.
If I got a 10 ounce of that somewhere I've never been at a cool brewery, that would have been an 85. Or it would have been really hard to talk myself down from the 85.
Sorry, I was just checking
R.I.P.
the stats on this beer.
Do they have the holy trinity
Nope.
of no?
Just the 8.6 ABV.
I don't get that.
Oh God!
no. Yeah. What was I looking at? Oh, Boston. You were talking about where you would.
Boston?
Yeah, that's where it's brewed.
Oh, wow.
Good call.
Thanks, man.
So
Would have been a point, but
I only guessed 5 other cities before.
the shotgun approach.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of get the whole like, man, it'd be cool to have like, or it would have been cooler to have this somewhere else, and then it would inflate the value of it. So it's beer is such a subjective thing, as we've discussed so much over the time.
I
of
really
this
think like
podcast.
if you're in a brewery, and especially one that you've never been to or one that you think is kind of cool, I think it's very easy to inflate like a pretty okay IPA into like a 70 or something. Like when you're there, it's so easy to be like, oh shit, like this is great, this is the best. And if you like, it's hard to say which one of those is the more honest impression. Right?
This is more honest
yeah.
because how many people get access to go to Decadent's
That's true.
tap room?
Yeah.
Not many, but the number of people who are within their breadth of distribution is way larger.
Right. Here we are 3,000 miles away,
And yet at the same time, maybe that beer is better on tap.
Oh, that's right.
So
Yeah.
it's all subjective. And I want to say that our method of like bringing them all to the same exact location and not having anything like distracting us from rating it as objectively as possible makes it better, like a
Yeah.
better rating.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's tough because I definitely have had a lot of beers that are way better on tap than they are in the can. So
Sure. I think this beer could like use a little more of that like kind of milk cream flavor. Maybe even like
it might be good.
nitro
or lactose.
Yeah, lactose.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Some of the elements that we had from the beer previous.
Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe I'm just thinking of that we had the milk and stuff.
I think that'd be good.
But yeah, I think the beer we just had would really benefit from that.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What's up
here's,
next?
One of mine.
Jeremy's beer.
This is Maui Brewing Company collaboration with whom?
The can does not say.
You looked? Well, Maui collaborated with somebody and they made a Laulima Belgian IPA. Yeah, I wonder. That's funny. Why would you say it's a collaboration and then not say maybe it's Laulima?
I've had a lot of Maui beers, and they've been rather middle of the road, which is kind of disappointing.
I agree with that.
Oh, well, jeez. I just
Good choice, Jeremy.
I like this was like one of my second pick, and it was just kind of like that one, just because I liked the little cover on the can.
Well, it'll be interesting to see whether the collaboration with blank works out.
yeah.
I'm sure it'll be good.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Ooh,
Whoa.
that's very good.
That's the best Maui beer I've ever had
Yeah.
by a considerable margin.
That like the first thing you get is the kind of the Belgian yeasty flavor, and then I get like almost like a lemony flavor, and then at the very end, kind of like I want to say pepper, but it's really not. It's not like hot like pepper. It just has like it's like a flavor of like white pepper or something at the very end.
A white pepper.
I agree with most of that, except maybe the pepper.
Yeah.
To me, I switch. I get more IPA in the beginning, and then it kind of fades into the Belgian. And then I don't know. There's just kind of this like an okay aftertaste. I can't really put my finger on it, but
It doesn't smell very good. Like the more
No.
Yeah,
the more I smell it, the less I
That-
like it. But the taste is great.
I don't typically like. Well, I don't typically like European style yeasty beers in smell or flavor. But the smell is the same, but the flavor I really enjoy.
Yeah, I think there's I don't know. There's a part that like I really like, sort of that combination of the IPA and the or at least that flavor, and then the Belgian that really comes forward after that kind of bitterness. And then it like gets kind of like, and then like now that like I've sat on it for a while, I'm kind of like, I want another sip. Like there's kind of like a creamy.
There's definitely something there that makes you want more,
Yeah.
which I really enjoy.
Yeah. It's kind of sweet, I guess, and maybe that's where the lemon or whatever fruit is coming in.
I'm getting almost like a little bit of a soapy flavor, like kind of in the middle of my mouth, like
Yeah.
as the Belgian and IPA flavors are kind of coming to an end, and like just before the lemon, I get this kind of like it's not quite soapy, but that's like the best word I have for it. Kind of an off flavor, but that's good.
Despite the soap description.
Well, we're just kind of really getting into the weeds here of
Yeah.
what this beer is, and I guess that's a good thing because we're covering more points. But
We don't know anything.
yeah, we're just three guys.
Sitting in a bar. Now with LED RGB
Oh,
lighting.
yeah, thank God.
Oh, thank God, dude.
All this energy we're saving by having the underside of our bar
Lit.
The flashiest bar this side of downtown.
I want to let everybody at home listening, all two of you, that I did not purchase. None of us purchased the RGB lighting. We found the RGB lighting. So,
It was acquired.
yes, through one means or another.
one man's trash.
That's right.
This is very enjoyable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If they had this at Dark Sky, I'd probably get a second.
It's it kind of encourages me to drink it over a long period of time, just because I'm really chasing this like aftertaste. I mean, so, like most of it is also kind of like pretty nice Belgian.
You're using now.
What?
Sean was using earlier, but now you're using. You're chasing the flavor.
Oh, yeah.
You're chasing the hit, man.
Chase the dragon, Jeremy.
And I could see myself more likely at like a pool game drinking for kind of letting it play on your tongue. And
Yeah.
Percolate.
Yeah, percolate.
Yeah.
This tastes like something Dark Sky would make. Yeah, like since I
Oh.
made that comment, I've been, like that's what I just keep coming back to when I drink this. This is something like very up their alley, I think.
I can see. I do agree with the soapy comment. There's like once most of the other flavors
Just
fall
a little,
off.
little
Yeah, a little soap, but other than that,
goes away quick. It doesn't like linger to me.
it's kind of it's in that like experimental lane
Yeah.
that Dark Sky would occupy.
The thing I'm glad of is that Maui brews boring beers, typically. And this is not boring.
Mm-hmm.
Even if it's not the best beer in the world, it's not boring. Which
Outside the comfort zone.
Yes, exactly, which is what I want them to do. You know, they've got the street cred of being brewed on a Hawaiian island. They
Especially in the midst of the Kona controversy.
Yeah.
They're actually made in Hawaii.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So they should use it. They're being bought here in the States because they they're brewed over there. So why not make good beer to go along with it?
they have like a porter, like a coffee porter or something, and then they have a Kolsch or something.
Yes, and then a blonde
Yeah.
and a red.
Oh, I don't think I've ever had the red.
It's what
A
would-
red.
Yeah, that is the best descriptor. Yes.
Now that I'm done with my glass, that scent was starting to kind of like turn and be kind of enjoyable to me, but almost like kind of back to like the white pepper or something. I get that
Oh.
there's some kind of like there's something in that I
Spice.
enjoy. Yeah, and then
Yeah. I was almost charged $10 for this 12-ounce can. So
this is not a
thank God.
$10 beer.
Quite the opposite.
It's
Yeah.
just been mislabeled twice, I think, and had to reread the thing.
Sean.
I give that a 65.
I was also going to say 65.
65.
Hey,
Okay.
that was like the easiest drinking I think out of this whole pack. It was like I felt like the other ones I was like kind of ready for them to be done
Yeah.
when I reached the end. And
Really? That first one was the easiest drinking.
Mm. See, again,
Nitro, lactose, those
Yeah.
are both things synonymous with easy drinking for
Right.
me.
I was kind of getting that, like I was saying, that weird like bitter kick,
Oh,
like
yeah.
right at the very end that I wasn't fond of.
Yeah.
This is 7.1%, which
Again, not 7, doesn't taste like 7.
right, yeah, 7.1 is not. It's not huge, but it's higher than probably average, and I didn't taste it.
Yeah. We've never talked about the fact that all these beers that we've had in the past were like, oh, it doesn't taste like 12%, it doesn't taste like 7%. Maybe we've just had so many beers at this point that we're just so used to higher
Yeah.
ABV that
Yeah.
we're when we go back to a smaller percentage, we just overestimate everything.
That's true. We did like our early episodes.
Yeah.
In fact, most of our episodes.
Underestimate everything.
Yeah, we're like really
Huge.
on
Yeah.
the ABV.
Stouts and Porters episode was huge. The fucking Evil Twin
Oh my
was
God.
huge.
Jesus.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. Maybe we just
Been
are so
desensitized.
yeah. Maybe we just don't register ABV as well as most other people anymore.
Then I feel like we're pretty good at guessing them,
Mm.
so we must be tasting them.
I guess, but like I wouldn't have guessed any of those ABVs even close to what they're.
I mean, I would have, but I'm leading in
No.
points.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Our-
Is there
our
like an
point
actual
total
like,
leader.
tally counter we have up?
We don't, and we were talking about like keeping it on the
Ah.
whiteboard or something, and then we never did it.
We could start today.
Yeah, we'll have to start.
Yeah.
We'll read the. We'll listen to the previous episode.
Yeah.
So going back to Sean's second
shit.
beer.
Oh man, I thought I had this planned perfectly. I had them arranged so I could have the oatmeal stout last.
Is
Jeremy's
is
is
this
up next, and then we would
It's
be going
Snake.
falling back through. Should we do that?
Yeah,
let's do that.
It's snake style.
I
Yeah.
think it's best to save the stout for last.
Just like an NBA draft.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you start a game of Catan.
Yeah.
Coming up next, we have Jeremy's second pick, SunUp Brewing Company's Red Flash IPA.
Now this one I specifically chose because it was a SunUp beer, and we were there
A while
a
ago.
while ago in their tap room. I quite enjoyed that even though it was like the fourth bar of the night or something. And
Yeah.
we were kind of all out of our minds.
That fucking dude playing guitar. Was
Dude,
like,
that guy was a
Sweet.
awesome guy.
I think it was partially because I was
Super
Shit-faced.
wasted, dude.
that guy rocked. Whoever that
Yeah.
was, whoever was playing guitar at SunUp on XYZ date.
It was this year, right? We were in
Yes.
Phoenix. Okay, in 2019, if you were.
What the fuck? Was it like January or something?
It was very early in the year. Yeah.
Anyway, you're a boss, Mr. Guitar Man. That's on up.
Mr. Guitar Man.
Keep doing what you're doing. We almost bought him a beer, but he like turned it down, right?
No, Sean bought him a
Yeah,
beer.
I think
Oh,
I think he took it.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice.
I think he like looked over at us and was like, "Thanks, guys."
Keeping it real.
This, I think I had this there. This smells familiar, anyways.
Oh yeah.
Cheers.
Gentlemen.
Cheers. I kind of like it. Nick's making a face, but it's kind of like, I don't know. It's kind of got this like rough kind of
Puts hair in your chest.
yeah, that kind of quality, that kind of vibe.
Give me another.
It is rough. I'll give you that.
Okay.
I see. I think both of what you're trying to, what both of you are trying to say.
I can see how you would think this is good.
Right.
There's a certain quality to this beer that I so want to
Like
like.
maltiness.
Yeah.
And I do
yeah.
like it to a certain degree, but then there's also this part of me that's like, oh, God, no. What the
It-
fuck is this?
It really is like,
That's the aftertaste for me. Is
Yeah.
that experience of being like, never mind. Like it's not as great. But
really is up front. It's like very malty and good. And then the aftertaste is this super bitter hop flavor. I like this. Even with the bitterness. I this is what I look for in like a red IPA. Is this kind of like a bitter IPA but with a good malt character to it. I think they
Yeah.
kind of nailed it. Takes a couple sips. The first couple are rough. It's kind of a
Yeah.
"Ugh, what did I get myself into? You know what this tastes like? Is it tastes like that Pendleton that we got from it's like the Grand Canyon anniversary
yeah.
or something.
Yeah, the National Park Collection.
Was that
And
Rogue?
Pendleton was the brewery that we got.
That's the name of the beer.
Oh,
I think it's by Rogue. Let me Google this because that's gonna. I don't want to. I'm about to shit talk the beer and I don't want to shit talk the wrong brewery.
I want to like this beer really bad, but every time I drink it, it just gets worse. Like, oh my God.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, that's starting to. It's the goodness about it starting to wear off.
It's good until the aftertaste, and the aftertaste is so bad that it cancels out.
It stays
and
with you to the next sip.
It's so awful. It's like you drink it and it just sticks on your tongue. It coats your tongue, and it's so it's honestly like revolting to me. I can't.
okay.
I really do not like this at all. For that alone, I cannot stand this.
It was Rogue. Pendleton Pale Ale was very similar to this. I liked that a lot less than I like this. I really enjoy this actually.
This has got like a duality to it. It wants to be one thing really bad, and it wants to be the other thing really bad.
You know, instead of blending them, it's just both at the same time.
Yeah, and then one of them lingers by happenstance. Yeah, like there's things that could be changed about it for sure.
I'm trying to come up with a rating.
Okay, so here's a problem. This is the first time I've ever felt like I'm going to be really, really different from the two of you.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
That's fine.
fair.
But it's going to weigh down on your grades
That's fine.
significantly.
that's okay
Okay.
because that's more representative.
Does either one of you want to finish this?
I'll take it. You want to split it?
Yeah, pour me a little.
I think this is the first beer that I've ever had on the podcast that I could not finish.
Oh, sorry. Did any of us finish Voodoo Ranger?
I
think-
finished.
I thought we all poured it out.
I finished it.
Finished it.
Yeah.
I'm the bitch.
Well, now I'm the bitch. I can't finish this. So
Yeah. I think I kind of have a number.
I have a number.
Let me mull this over for a second, because I'm like stuck between. I'm like trying to place this in the decade, like in the tens.
Oh,
You know, I'm having a hard time because I like one sip, I'll be like, 40. And then another sip, I'll go, oh, 70. I'm like, I can't just average them. I gotta like, what's our scale? What's a 60?
60 is middling. 50 is why not?
I give this a 65.
Okay, I was also gonna give it a 65, just because there's so much in this that drags it down, and it could be like it could reach a lot higher, but 65.
60, 65,
Yeah.
35?
30.
No!
Wow.
This is the worst beer that I've had on the podcast. I cannot stand this. This is quite literally a 30 because I had 3 sips, couldn't take any more.
Yeah.
This was awful for me.
Yeah.
So, well, see, that's my point. Is
That's fine. But
what does that
I'm
switch
completely
to?
okay with that. Because that's a 65 and a 65 and a 30 is still like a 45 or 50 or something. I'm okay with that.
50 probably.
Yeah, call it
About.
a 50.
Yeah, I can see this in the nature of being a 50. You could either have it or you could either not have it, and like it
Good Lord.
It's a
No.
great schism, and
Yeah.
in this case, for some people they wouldn't have it, and some would.
It's actually a 53.
Oh, okay.
Mathematically. But
53.
I'm not
No,
splitting
that's
hairs
fine.
here, but I was curious because I was like, that sounds high compared to.
And it was even higher.
Yeah.
But hey, your finals are over, so you.
That's right.
You don't have to care anymore.
Fuck math. I'm too cool for school.
I don't want to shut on SunUp. I think they're a great brewery. I'm
They're
glad.
better than this.
I think that on average they're way better than this
Yeah.
beer, and I think that it's probably just me. I just cannot take
But it's
that
hard
flavor.
when there's like some flavor in a beer that you don't like.
It's like you with that hop.
That's right. It's like I will consistently rate that 10 points lower than anybody else just because of the hop that's in it.
But at least your consistent rating for that hop is like less than average, but not. This is like atrocious for me.
For me, it was that like that moment in time when like I drank like kind of old beer, and then like I couldn't see any other like part of beer other than like that was in that old beer, and it was like a whole episode I had to like fight that urge to be like there's something like really gross, and, like, boozy.
There's some of that in
this.
this.
Yeah, and it's like there's definitely this in like I can see why Nick isn't enjoying this because
Definitely.
that flavor is in there somewhere and it's near the end. And this is after I've gotten over that like weird period in my life where I could just like I'm like God is this all beer is? Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, but also there's a nice pleasant rustic nature to it.
Rustic is right. This is kind of I bring this back to a certain amount of this reminds me of that the Nitro Brown we had from Modern Times. That reminded you of Sedona. To me, that tastes like what I imagine licking the fucking dirt off of your shoe tastes like.
That's literally what it would taste like.
Yeah.
The way that I described Bedrock Brown is like the nostalgic, like
poetic.
Instagram version
Yeah.
of it. Right? Yeah.
To me, I'd
see
put
that.
it in
This
like,
is no filter.
I put it in like a new flavor category of almost like an old like West timey like rusty almost.
Yeah.
And I guess it's a red colored.
This does feel like you're in a saloon in the Old West.
Yeah.
This
It's
is
like this isn't beer meant to be like what the city slickers drink
Yeah.
or whatever. So
I guess I'm a city slicker then.
you drink this because you don't have access to clean water. So this is how you drink water and avoid cholera.
That's interesting. I've never had. This is the first time I think any of us have rated anything below a 40.
Yeah.
So
It really does. There's an aspect of this that reminds me it must be the malt or something. It's exactly like that Pendleton Pale Ale.
Mm-hmm.
And I hated that. And that that took us like 6 months to get through a 6-pack of. Because it was just there's something in it that was just every sip was like
revolting.
ugh. It was work to finish a 12-ounce beer. I don't know what this does differently, but I like this a lot better. But I completely, like Jeremy said, I completely see how you would not like that. So everyone at home, you have no idea if you're going to like this beer.
I think generally we're pretty on the same page.
oh yeah,
At least.
yeah.
And this is one of those times where we're definitely not on the same page.
Why we have 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, why we have 3?
Yeah, what's the point to having 3 people on the podcast if we always all say 75?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a part of this podcast is to fight the, like, well, if I go below a 75, then I'll be insulting somebody.
Right.
And if I go above a 95, then I'm just a bootlicking,
Yeah.
like, beer worshiping.
There's this guy on YouTube who reviews movies called Your Movie Sucks.
Oh, yeah.
And his rating scale is very similar to ours. He only rates in like whole integers, but it's a 1 out of 10 scale. And he has explained so many times, I rated this a 5 out of 10. That doesn't mean it's bad. That means it's okay. Like, you don't have to like get on my ass in the comment section about like me rating a movie 5 out of 10.
Yeah. For most people, a 5 out of 10 would be just like
Atrocious.
Yeah, a death sentence or something.
But that's middle.
Yeah, that is middle between 1 and 10, the two extremes. So.
Yeah. I like that guy. He's cool.
Left a little bit of that in the bottom of your glass. Just I know you
Oh,
liked
thank
it
you.
so much. You
Yeah.
savor it a little longer.
Thank you. You know me, Sean. I like my reds.
Don't you normally like reds?
No.
Or you don't like reds?
I don't like reds or,
But you like
or
browns.
ambers. I love browns.
Which is funny because to me, those are like 3 of a kind. They're like
Really?
barely differentiable from each other.
But there's something very different to me. A brown is very different. That sounds like a beer.
Next up.
This is my second beer, and
I'm going to pour it down the drain for stealing my joke. This is Brother Dewey's Date Night Aged Brown Ale brewed with dates and wildflower honey. Sounds good, Nick.
speak of the devil.
Smells
Here's a brown.
interesting. Yeah.
And I'll eat my shoe if I give this a 30.
29.
31.
I told you I liked browns.
Ever since we had the Modern Time, I don't think I've had a brown since we had the Modern Times Bedrock. I've been craving a brown really hard.
Smells like the same beer.
What?
Cheers.
Cheers.
It's a different neck of the woods compared to the last one. I don't really see honey, but definitely there's like a date, kind of like dried dates kind of flavor to that.
There's a sweetness.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So the interesting thing about honey, because there was a long time where I was looking for like a honey flavored beer. The thing that's difficult about that is honey is almost completely sugar, and so it gets fermented.
Yeah,
So there's like almost no honey flavor left
for sure.
once you have the beer, which is very disappointing because I think a honey beer would be delicious.
Yeah, if you could get it to taste like honey.
Right. If you could just extract the honey
yeah.
flavor.
I guess I don't know enough about brewing, but like you would like kill the yeast and then add the honey to back flavor it or something.
Yeah.
Maybe
So that's the thing in like mead making and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. You add like some tablets and it just kills all the yeast. And then
There's something different about browns that I like, that they taste like dirt, but they're good.
you make them sound so appealing.
I know.
Well,
they taste
I see exactly.
earthy.
I know exactly what you mean.
It's
Yeah.
like of the land kind of
Yeah.
thing. And
Yeah.
True to the picture on front of this like monk or something holding his big glass of beer, and it's like he made it himself. He's
Yeah.
proud.
Yeah, like rosy cheeked. He's like this
What percent is this?
8.8.
This is a
Whoa.
big one.
Yeah.
So I've never had dates, but I suspect it's the dates flavor that's giving me this flavor. When I drink this, have you ever had a beer that's like really metallic?
Oh yeah.
This has like
I
the
see.
front of that without the aftertaste. When you taste something that tastes like iron, there's like this like it's not salty, but there's this like definite like taste
Tang.
to it up front. Yeah, and then you swallow it, and then there's like that iron metallic aftertaste. This is that without the aftertaste. This tastes like I'm gonna swallow this, and it's gonna be like
Yeah.
metallic, and then it just never is.
Like a date.
Like a date.
Essentially.
Is that
Yeah.
what dates taste like?
They're
Yeah.
very tangy in that way.
Yeah.
They're
Okay.
a tangy metallic flavor.
Not
Here
Yeah.
it is.
Yeah.
This tastes like dates.
This beer isn't as sweet as dates, obviously, but
Yeah.
I totally see. It's like colored like dates. Like this is the same.
Between a brown and
Color.
a
Yeah,
Yeah.
very
So-
very brownish red.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying this.
I quite enjoy this beer.
I think we're going to end up rating it really close. But as is usual for the podcast, I think I'm going to go into this going, oh, I don't know if I like this, and then
By the end.
and then we're going to be at the same score.
Oh, I see the honey now, just a little bit. Now that it's kind of hit the bottom of my glass.
The tail end.
Yeah.
Just as a quick aside, I didn't see the skeleton. I didn't see Mr. Bones.
Yeah.
When did that happen? That was today?
That was
yeah,
yesterday?
that was today.
We found it in
The trash.
Seacrest, I think.
Thank you,
Seacrest
whoever.
Hall.
For context, right now the bar is filled with trash finds, essentially, as NAU is getting out of the semester, and all of the fucking, college freshmen just decide, well, I can't fit this sewing kit into my car. I can't fit these Bluetooth speakers, this microwave, these vacuums, whiteboard, snowboard, multiple skateboards, water bottles. No, that's too much.
All this stuff I spent money on. All this stuff I spent my parents' hard-earned money on.
Yeah.
Into the trash.
So many cables and headphones and
Headphones.
Earbuds.
Now, aren't you going to need earbuds wherever you go? Like
You can put them
those
in
don't
your
go
pocket.
bad. It's like winter clothes. Like you should donate them. You should do something with them. Not throw them away. But I can understand. Somebody from California. Oh fuck it! I don't need these anymore.
Yeah.
But number one, these are freshman dorms, so they're probably coming back. So
Probably.
they're probably going to need them.
The
again.
retention rate is really high at NAU.
Right.
So, yeah.
And number two, clothes and winter specific items notwithstanding, you need binders next year. You need plastic tubs next year. You need Clorox next year. You need
Reusable grocery bags.
yeah. Isn't the whole?
Reusable
Didn't
is
you
in
buy
the name.
those to not throw them away?
Apparently not.
This is a good beer.
I would get 2 of these. I'd have 2 pints
Oh
of
yeah,
this.
for sure.
I would not.
Okay.
But
yeah.
I have a special place in my heart for Browns, so I can see how.
there's a joke in there somewhere. I'm not going to find it. But
Oof.
people at home, what's your favorite racist joke? Leave it in the comments.
What race do you have a special place in your heart for? There it is. There's the joke.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Sean, what would you give this beer?
This is a 65. I gave the last one 65. This is a 70.
Damn it! I was gonna give it a 72 on the basis that the last one was a 65, and I was like, well, this is obviously better than the last one. So.
This is a 70.
Well,
And this is what I meant. We're probably going to end up giving this the same rating, but
This is a damn decent brown.
yeah.
I think if more people made browns, this would probably fall off. But since I think American brown ales are underrepresented in breweries as they are today, and you hardly ever get a brown anywhere, this is a 70 because of that.
I thought you guys were crazy for tasting the honey, but I'm starting to get it, like you said, like right at the very end.
Yeah.
I get just a little twist of that like honey flavor.
And that to me, that's a really neat thing about beer is that the more you drink one beer, the more things you notice about it. It's kind of like watching a movie multiple times. Is that you're like, oh, there's a
unfolds
thing,
some
and
details.
there's another thing, and
Well, as I've said before, I think like even in the short time that we've been doing this podcast, I feel like my ability to taste and like pinpoint different flavors in a beer has improved. Where it started as like somebody says there's like cocoa in this beer, and I go, there's no cocoa in this. It tastes like beer. Like there's nothing in that. And now it's like, yeah, I see some honey in that. Like, it's like I think as you drink and like try to find flavors, you get better at doing it. So even if you're like feel like you're not great at it when you start, like just doing it.
It's all about the reps.
That's right.
You gotta drink more beer. Unfortunately, that's the way it is.
This is my
We're-
exercise.
Yeah. We're doing this so that you don't have to. Nobody wants to drink a couple beers, so
You're welcome.
yeah.
well, when you first started this podcast, I was kind of like, oh man, I'm a little like out of my element here. I like beer, but like these two guys are like far out above.
We're the Titans.
Yeah, and I was like, so I started buying beer and like doing like what in my mind I called beer reps, and I was just kind of like, gotta train myself to notice these subtle flavors. Oh god, I'm drunk.
It really is. Like the more you do it, the better you are.
Oh,
And
yeah,
it's,
for sure.
it's like anything. It's just It's weird because like I feel like you, in your life, you have never had to describe the flavor of something, and this is something I didn't realize until this, like beer tasting, but I feel like our language is so ill-equipped to handle describing flavors because you almost always end up describing flavors as.
Well, we've
see.
used so many analogies in the past to be like, this tastes like, well, not really, but dirt.
Tastes like you're sitting in a barn with a cow next to you, and there's a sheep, but it's like 30 feet away. That's what that tastes like.
And so, like, maybe there is like a bias in how humans perceive the world, and that it's mostly audio and visual.
Yeah.
So
we have a lot of words to describe what something looks like, what something sounds like, and even what something smells like. But then when you start talking about flavor, it's like without resorting to saying it tastes like chocolate. What does this taste like? Like what flavors are there?
Yeah,
and it's like your tongue is going crazy. Like all your like flavor receptors are lighting up, but you don't have language to describe it. So it's really weird to try to. Anyways,
that was good. That was a nice monologue.
Did you hear that Alex Trebek has cancer?
That's old news.
That's old news.
Don't hurt me with that.
I was just trying to bring some banter to the podcast.
I showed. Have you seen this dude on Jeopardy who's like?
He's won like 14 times in a row, right?
Yeah, and he's won like almost $2 million.
Yeah.
And I was like, I pulled up this article and I was reading it. It was really interesting. It was talking about like how Jeopardy is probably going to change as a show to accommodate contestants like this, because shows like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, who have occasional huge payouts, they have insurance for that. So because they have a budget and they only have so much money. So when somebody wins $1 million, they don't just have $1 million laying around. So they have this insurance that they pay for to account for that, whatever. Jeopardy does not have that. They do not have the frequency of big winners that a show like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has. They do not have that insurance. So when somebody like this guy wins $2 million, they don't have $2 million laying around. So they're saying like this is kind of a big deal and like a bad deal for Jeopardy as a show to have somebody like this who wins so much money. So anyways, I was reading this article and I had it up and it was just like, it just had like a, the picture was just like some stock photo of Jeopardy. And I turned to Crystal and I was like, you heard about this? And she looks over and she goes, no. And I was like, what? And she goes, don't tell me he died. I can't take that right now. And I was like, Alex Trebek is alive. She goes, oh, okay. What were you talking about? And I told her this thing and she was completely uninterested. But
is his winnings above Ken Jennings at this point?
I think he is the biggest winner in Jeopardy history.
Wow.
He is. So there are two. There's like the two Jeopardy champions. It's Ken Jennings, who won the most money, and then it's this other guy who won the most consecutive games. Or I might have those backwards. I think Ken Jennings won the most consecutive games. This guy, I believe, has overtaken
both.
I think he's overtaken the money. He has not overtaken the number of games, because the big deal about this guy is he's winning a lot of money every game.
Wow.
So he's like
42 grand, 50 grand per game.
Yeah, like there was a game where I think he won like $85,000.
Oh my god!
In a game of Jeopardy.
Because he gets a lot of money from the questions, and then he doubles down on the final questions.
He plays very strategically. There, people don't know this. There is a very real strategy to playing Jeopardy, and this guy is killing it.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's overtaken Ken Jennings, because Ken Jennings. You're right. Ken Jennings. The big deal with him is that he was on for so long. Yeah, he was like undefeated for months.
Yeah.
And this guy has been on for like 20 episodes, which is a lot, but is not, I don't think is to the Ken Jennings. I think Ken Jennings was in like the 60-day or something. He was on forever.
Yeah.
Before he was beaten. So I think this guy is still, he's got some catching up to do, but he's already beaten him in money.
Yeah.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
So that's enough talking about Jeopardy. I really like Jeopardy for those listening.
Jeopardy's great.
Who are like, what the fuck is this guy talking about Jeopardy so long for?
Jeremy's dead.
I'm dead.
You don't like Jeopardy? We don't have to talk more about Jeopardy.
I could
but
develop an opinion on it, but
for the sake of the
Yeah.
podcast.
Well, no, I just haven't watched it in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's neat that people like know all this shit, but also like it's trivia. So like,
Yeah.
who cares?
Yeah.
I was really into Cash Cab.
Oh, Cash
Yeah.
Cab's great.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like Cash Cab?
Ben Bailey like sells the show.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. I heard they were coming back with that. Actually,
oh, wow.
that he was doing another series. Sean, am I right in thinking that Cash Cab is coming back to the proverbial airwaves?
I don't know.
That's what I heard.
Part of me thinks that sounds familiar, but then I think part of me is just
I think it might have been an article that said something about Cash Cab possibly coming back, and that it probably will not end up coming back.
Have you guys ever watched his stand-up? Bill Bailey,
Yeah,
Ben Bailey,
Ben
Bailey. I have.
Fucking hilarious. That's so fucking funny.
Really?
I loved it. You didn't like it?
I didn't really care for it.
I laughed. I've seen it a few times because it's like I found it so funny. I showed it to other people.
Oh.
Every time I laugh my ass off. I love that.
Huh.
Not that you have to.
Just like beer. It stand up is exactly like beer. It's so subjective. Yeah.
Last beer.
Last beer. This is
Mine.
Sean's second beer.
We're coming back to Evil Twin. We liked him so much. This is No Hero, an oatmeal stout, 7%.
Thank God it's a 7%.
I like oatmeal stouts and I like Evil Twin.
We keep going back to this beer. I don't know why, but the first oatmeal stout we had on the podcast.
The Samuel Smith.
Yeah, just having that like makes me look forward to it.
We
because
like
it was-
we should have kept that for the wall just because
Yeah,
for how
keep
often we
fucking
reference it.
bring
It is the
back.
most referenced
Yeah.
beer. Because it is such a standard. It's like exactly what you expect
Yeah.
for an oatmeal stout.
It doesn't not too strong, but not weak,
Yeah.
and you're like, this is a relaxing beer.
This beer pours like motor oil. This is very dark,
God, yeah.
very thick. The
Excellent.
head is
Uh,
like a chocolatey brown.
Other parts of my brain are like, this isn't 7 whatever percent, like, but then like, it's
This
on
is
the tin.
12.
Yeah, but like, yeah, so many stouts in the past have looked like this and have been like 15 or whatever.
Mhm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
I'm surprised that this is a 7, and I'm surprised that this is even an oatmeal because like the Sam Smith was, you could see through it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, cheers.
Gentlemen,
Cheers.
that's it.
Oh, yeah. That's excellent.
Baby.
That has just a little bit of that metallic flavor at the back.
Not
and
too
it's-
much.
It's perfect. It's like part of me kind of likes that flavor.
Yeah.
In a very small
Yeah,
amount,
yeah.
and this is any more than this would be nasty.
I'm even noticing like this is like, besides a Chocolips, this is one of the most chocolatey stouts. Like it's not like, I can see why other stouts are like, this has chocolate in it. It's because they like put a bunch of chocolate into it. But this is like kind of like the shavings of like dark chocolate. And there's not as much other stuff that the chocolate finally stands out to me as like a characteristic of this beer.
I really do get like a really like a bitter, dark
Yes.
chocolate flavor
Yeah.
on the aftertaste.
Dark chocolate, not
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
You know. This is like not to beat the dead horse into the ground, but this is like Sam Smith on steroids.
Like the
His bigger brother.
yeah.
Right.
I hesitate to say the better version, but to me, this is the better version.
This is the better version.
Yeah.
This is the fuller.
This is the adult version.
Yeah,
This is what I want out of a stout.
Sam Smith is a 30-day trial. This is premium.
Sam Smith is, you're 16 and you're in Ireland and you can legally drink.
Yeah.
This is the adult, you're 21, you can drink version.
Somewhere in the middle is Guinness.
Yeah.
All
right.
right.
Well, Guinness, we can talk about Guinness later.
Yeah.
But
We'll talk about Guinness when we go to Ireland for our first international episode.
Oh god.
can you imagine?
Does anyone want to fund that?
We are open to sponsors. Guinness.
Sam Smith.
We'll suck your dick.
85 at least.
This is quite good. Clean, efficient oatmeal stout.
this is what I think of when I think oatmeal stout. This is exactly
For sure. For
dark, little metallic, like kind of bitter, not like a super sweet flavor, but
This is honestly the limit of what I would have as a breakfast beer.
I to me, it's a little beyond that fence, but
It's fair.
sure.
I think of a breakfast beer as I didn't get much sleep, rough night maybe, wake up, have a slammin' breakfast of like bacon, eggs, hash browns, pancakes, and this.
to me, this is like a steak breakfast.
Yeah.
I've never had
country fried steak.
Specifically not that. Purely because I think that like gravy requires something a little lighter than this. But people who have like a steak for breakfast,
Just like,
Which, if you're out there, congratulations on the steak.
isn't that a thing? Am I
Yeah.
insane?
No, yeah.
Okay.
That-
Yeah, it happens.
yeah.
I was like, I'm pretty sure people do that.
Steak and eggs.
This
Yeah.
is the beer that goes with a steak and eggs. This is perfect for that, I think.
I'd have to wake up late for this to be a breakfast beer. But I see what you're saying. Yeah, steak and eggs.
This and
kinda-
a cup
Wake
of
up at like
Yeah.
6 o'clock
Yeah.
p.m.
I couldn't go to like school or work on this beer.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So I think of a Sunday. So here's the question: is a breakfast beer a beer you can go to work on,
No.
or is a breakfast beer a Sunday brunch kind of beer? Because I
Di-
think those are two different things.
This is I do not consider this a go to work kind of
No.
breakfast beer.
This is a Sunday brunch. Mm-hmm. This is a Sunday breakfast. Anyways, brunch seems too hoity-toity.
If I am
Yeah.
decadent all
rich.
day, I'm having this beer for breakfast for sure.
Yeah, but if I was like on a really long week vacation or something.
Yeah. If I had to go, I'm not saying I have, but if I have ever gone to work on a beer, it's more of a blonde.
I mean, who hasn't? None of us, but everyone else. I mean, who hasn't gone to work drunk? I mean, on a beer.
Well, usually it's like it's your lunch. You got a full hour. Might as well go to the
I
bar
really
that's
don't
around
understand.
the corner. Like,
Yeah.
I agree with Sean. I don't think this is. I actually do not understand going to lunch and getting a beer and then coming back.
Oh, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say the opposite. I was
Thank
going to
you,
say,
Sean.
I don't know how that's not like more of a thing in the U.S.
Really?
Because that's like a big deal any other country, is you have a beer over lunch. And
Yeah.
it's like you're not trying to
sure.
get drunk. You just have a beer with lunch.
The light
And it's
beer, granted.
just a beverage.
But yeah,
just a
exactly.
beverage.
It's like, what is it? Like, Argentina has their siesta. Europe has their beer on lunch. Like,
Yeah.
I would rather have a breakfast beer than I would have a lunch beer.
I'd rather have both. But
Fair.
we'll have to try this.
Yeah.
shower beers.
Shower beers are excellent.
I haven't done that, but
I was talking to
Yeah.
him a couple nights ago about he had no idea about the whole shower
the
beer.
culture.
The culture behind
Our
shower
people.
beers.
and
This-
like me, Sean.
This is not a shower beer.
No.
In any definition, yeah.
Right.
That first one was a shower beer. Juicy.
Yes.
Yeah, you need something light, refreshing, like kind of a
Bright.
fruity. Yeah.
Yeah. To cut against the hot water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In that lager range, maybe.
I was telling him I don't understand. The shower beer subreddit. I don't understand. 50% of the time, it's like people just sharing their beer, and they're like, it's a heads up shot with the beer, and they're like, this was a pretty good shower beer, and then the rest of them are like, here is my ass with the beer.
See, I'm okay with. Well, so it's like 50% is just here's the beer. Then like 40% is girls with their tits out and a beer. And if it's a bad beer, I judge them really hard. But if it's a good beer, I'm like, hey. And then the other 10% is guys holding the can like next to their dick.
Yeah.
And it's like, I support what you're doing, but I don't want to see it.
I don't understand it. Because if you want like porn, just go get
Well, no,
porn.
it's not porn, but it's like the juxtaposition of
beer
good
and
beer and
good body.
boobs.
Yeah.
I'm in
guess.
the camp that if there is a forum for discussing beer, it should be about the beer.
Sure.
So,
Right. But I don't think
the
that's
fast.
necessarily what shower beer is. Shower beer is a celebration of the combination of the two things.
If it can be boiled down to an experiential or like an experience of what the beer offers, then I'm not interested. Just
Sure.
give me, I want the fucking beer.
Well, yeah, I would not go on Untapped and like be like browsing through like reviews of a beer, and a girl like shows her boobs and is like, "This beer is a 5." It's like that. What the fuck are you doing here? Like, go back home. Your parents are worried about your mom and your stepdad are very worried about you.
Oh man.
So, anyways,
A more real joke has never surfaced.
I hope that's the best joke I make all week. Well, I certainly will be.
There's only a couple days left in the week, so it's fine.
Last episode, you were like, what am I supposed to do? Like, deny the information in front of my eyes? And then you like made this really good point about like, I don't know, like the Trump administration or something. And I'm like, I was thinking about this. And
What?
you were like the Mexicans are gonna come into our fucking
shit.
and you're like, and I was like, we should cut this out. But then later, I was like, yeah, he's right. Like, there's a lot of lying going on.
Fuck that I said.
We were drinking a lot, but
On this podcast, no. Stop it.
Us? So our last beer.
What the fuck were we talking about?
I don't know.
Anyway,
Shower
this is
beer's cool.
really good oatmeal stout. Also, I think I have a number.
I have a number.
Oh shit. None of these have really tasted like 8%, but I feel
This is an 8%.
all of them.
For sure. Yeah.
But this isn't the type of beer that you want to not taste 8% on.
No. Yeah, this is good. What I mean is like all of these 8% beers have accumulated.
Ah.
Well,
Jeremy?
one thought is, this is kind of like a 3 p.m. beer for me. It's like
A 3 p.m. beer. What
Yeah,
does
like-
that mean?
You wouldn't have this for breakfast, but you would have this 2 hours before you're done with work.
exactly. If
You're pre-gaming at work.
especially if I worked on a farm, this would be a 3 p.m. beer. But also,
Well, any beer is a good beer when you're working on a
yeah,
farm.
That's true.
Speaking from experience.
That's why they just made moonshine back in the day.
Yeah.
But I'd give this, I think, a 77.
I was going to say 80.
Holy shit. Okay. Well, there you
This
go.
does not quite make the shelf. It's
Just there.
just outside the shelf, but that's okay.
Damn. Yeah, I still stick with a 77.
This is like a 79.
That's almost shelf-worthy, though.
We can put it on the second shelf, right?
Yeah. But there's got to be a cutoff.
Yeah.
It has to be at least 80 to be saved.
Can I bump it up to a 78? Like,
Well, we both gave it an 80.
Ah,
so for it to be an 80, you have to give it at least an 80.
Yeah.
that's how math works. That's right.
What an oatmeal stout should be.
Damn it.
Doesn't like blow me out of the water, but that is exactly what I think an oatmeal stout should be. It does everything right. No like real big off flavors.
Well, yeah, I've only had so many,
Right.
like 3, this included. So, like, I don't know. Maybe it would be an 80. if
we'll
I've had-
revisit this another day.
Yeah, maybe
We'll
I
see
give
how
it.
you feel.
I regret my 77, but also like it's not. It's
Oh,
not.
don't regret
It's not
it.
doing me an 80 right now.
It's your,
so-
it's
That's
your,
fine.
It's your.
No, I feel like the asshole.
No, it's your. It's
Oh,
your,
don't.
It's your.
Yeah.
That's my God-given right as an American.
What do you have? It's your journalistic integrity.
Oh, okay, yeah. This is one big
That's-
journalistic adventure. Right?
That's why we have 3 people in the podcast.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, 77 seems so needle in the haystack. Whatever.
That's fine.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Own it. Thank you for joining us. Oh shit, we're not saying goodbye.
So we just finished our 6-pack. That's all the ones that we had. We're going to take a quick break and then come back and hit you with some beer news, followed by our 1 mystery beer, and then the last Dark Sky 4th anniversary beer. Stay tuned. This has been Be Right Back, the Lounge Beer Podcast. Want to see how our ratings stack up? Check us out on Untapped and Beer Advocate. Like us at Beer Right Back, check us out at teespring.com/stores/beer-right-back. Welcome back to Beer Right Back. Sean has some beer news for us. Sean, take it away.
Just got a couple pieces today. First up, millennials spend more on craft beer than any other generation, and I think,
Wow, no shit.
of course. Well, and so that strikes me as like, it feels like they're trying to push this like, millennials drink more or they spend more on beer, but shouldn't millennials spend more on like almost anything? I don't know. Millennials are right now between like 40 and 20.
Pretty
So,
much, yeah.
No, they're not 40.
but they're 35 or something. They're like,
I
Well,
think they're
like-
like 35 to
Yeah.
19 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
so wouldn't it?
Well, I wouldn't even go like as low as 19 for like if a 19-year-old right now that'd be like a Gen Z, right?
Yeah.
It's
I
like
guess,
right
yeah.
on the border.
I don't know.
I guess. You're
Anyway.
21, so yeah,
Yeah,
you're right.
But it's like the
Millennials are prime drinking age.
the generation that would be drinking the most and is the most populous because like other generations that are older
are not of legal drinking age or are dying.
Yeah, like so.
Well,
that's weird.
I think that millennials are probably spending their money in different ways than boomers are.
I agree. I don't think it's fair to compare the two right now, though. Like
Yeah.
60-year-old boomers compared to 25-year-old, millennials. That's, of course, those two groups of people are not going to spend their money in the same way. And even this study comes down to, it says millennials spend an additional $5 per month
Oh my god!
by saying they spend an average of $59 per month. So then
That's a lot.
the boomers are still paying $54 a month
Yeah.
on beer. So,
Yeah.
whatever.
I don't know.
This is from...
I can kind of see it's like it's the hip market, and
right,
a boomer is like, give me my Coors
right.
or go home, and like a
To
millennial
only be off by $5, though, I thought was
Is so little. I expected it to be like at least
Yeah.
$20 more.
like double or like 1.5 times as much, right?
$5 is nothing for the quality of beer that you're buying now, right?
Right.
I mean, like none of these beers, I think, are something that you could get 30 years ago.
Yeah. For sure. Holy
30
shit.
or
Yeah.
30 or more, 30 or 40 years ago, none of this shit existed.
Well, that's like I've talked to my dad about this, and my dad has quit drinking, but once in a while I'll talk to him about these breweries that we go to or beers that I've tried and stuff, and he goes, "Man, like I wish beer was this cool when I was your age, because like when I was your age, it was Budweiser or Michelob or Schlitz or like there was
Milwaukee
there was no craft
PBR.
beer, there was no
Yeah.
pecan maple beer, it was
My dad would have
beer.
spent just as much as me, if not twice as much.
exactly
if
it would have
he was
blown
their
our dad's
mind.
freaking minds
Yeah.
to have beer that tastes like what we rate a 65 on the show.
Strawberry cinnamon.
Insane.
Yeah.
Unfathomable.
Next up from Brewbound, Sierra Nevada collaborates with Bitburger Brewery on 2019 Oktoberfest beer. Do you guys like Oktoberfest beers?
Kind of unfamiliar.
Kind of 50-50.
They're like lagers, but to me, they're like the more flavorful lagers.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with Bitburger, but I have previously liked Sierra Nevada's Oktoberfest beers. So I'm looking forward to this. A collaboration with anybody I think is kind of cool. You get more brains working on the project. I think is almost always good. Founded in 1817, Bitburger, where did that go? Bitburger has been family owned for 7 generations. The brewery is famous for its perfect Pilsner and its commitment to quality in brewing. Looking forward to that.
Are they a German company? I would assume, since they're open since 18.
Yeah.
Yeah, they gotta be European.
They are one of the oldest U.S. breweries, or a really recent addition to the German brewing community.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And
The
then
way that you say it, Bitburger, makes me think of like a startup burger joint in Silicon
I
Valley.
agree. It sounded very San Francisco to me. I was
Yeah.
surprised myself to read 1817.
I was getting more of like a before World War I and Empire vibe.
Okay.
Bitburger, like obviously they were before like any of us were like
Before Christ.
Interesting. So I hear bit, and I think my brain just instantly jumps
okay.
to like
Bite.
bit.
Yeah,
or like
I see
computer.
That. Yeah.
You know. And then burger.
It's a burger joint that sells beer.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I associate burger too much with
German.
The Germans.
Yeah.
Last up, People Magazine reports Bud Light will sell beer in rainbow bottles for Pride Month in June, which feels like a cash grab to me.
Well,
like
that,
You're going to get a lot of the Tumblr users who are LGBT.
well, no, I think by and large the big like criticism of Pride Month and Pride March recently has been it's too commercialized now, and that it's just like a way to be like I don't know how else to put it.
You
but
slap a rainbow on your product and suddenly you support gay rights without,
you get
without
woke
doing
points
anything.
or something. Like it's
But I think that's the point, is that you get the people who are really into their Pride Month.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. I've like seen and read a lot of like back and forth between like Pride Month should be this and Pride Month, and to me it just seems like over commercialization for something that isn't inherently should be commercialized.
Why is a company? So on the one hand, it's like cool to show support. Do you think Anheuser-Busch? Do you think AB InBev is showing support, or do you think they're trying to earn a profit? You know, it's like there's a such thing as showing support and like taking a stand and being like, this is what our company thinks, and here's our values.
Yeah.
And then we put a rainbow on our bottles, give us more money.
Oh yeah.
Like, look, we support you, whatever you are. Just buy our beer.
Yeah, it reminds me of the what was it, like the Avengers Endgame will have the first gay character in the MCU, and then they're on screen for like 5-10 seconds. And it's like, yeah, great. What
what a justice you have done for the gay community.
But where's the line, right? Where's the line between Dark Sky doing the exact same thing, making a beer that is LGBTQ plus whatever, and being like, well, maybe we donate money to the cause, maybe we don't, but we're like we're like a local business that's representing for Pride in the Pines and Anheuser-Busch. Where's the line?
I really
What's
feel
the line
like
between the two?
Like intent is a big component of that, which as a consumer you can never identify. Right? You don't know what Anheuser-Busch's intent is when they launch a rainbow colored bottle, but I feel like that's objectively, omnisciently, that's it. Is like, what are you trying to accomplish when you do this? As a consumer, I feel like any publicity is good publicity, right? If even Anheuser-Busch is trying to make money off of your cause, that's at least...
That means something.
Right. And there are a lot of people who drink Bud Light who may not be supporters of LGBTQ communities, but who are now seeing like this label that they look up to, respecting it. Maybe that changes somebody's mind. Maybe it doesn't.
On one hand, it's normalization, and that's something you can always ask for.
Right.
On the other hand, it's being profited by a beer company made to make money.
Yeah.
So who knows? But
at the very least, it does not hurt the cause.
Sure.
It only benefits the cause,
right.
And whether or not they are making more money can be debated as being a negative or a positive. Yeah, that's separate. It can only be a positive or neutral.
Right. So anyways, that's all I had for beer news. Moving on into mystery beer.
Mystery beer.
Dark Sky beer. We're going to start off with mystery beer. Guys, close your eyes.
Oh, I haven't done this in a little bit. I'm a little bit...
Welcome back.
To Beer Right Back.
It sounds
the Lounge
good.
Beer
Yeah,
Podcast.
Right?
It's reflex at this point.
So we were in the store when Sean was buying this beer, and as much as I wanted to take a peek, I
tried really hard not to.
Yeah, I don't think I know what this is.
I never saw the front label.
It is a can, though.
But I know that black is a major color component of this like graphical design. So take that as
Can we assume a dark beer then, perhaps?
I've seen some weird advertisements. They use like pitch black, and then it's like, this is a lager.
A dark lager.
I just want to be like out of I'm in the cheating zone
right
now. So,
gentlemen, open your eyes.
Oh, this is not a dark beer.
Yeah, there you go.
Regrettably.
Not in color, anyways.
Cheers.
Cheers. It's like I ate a lemon.
Wow.
Or something citrusy. Jesus.
Yeah. It's a little too strong when it
That's
comes to
super-
acidity.
Super fruity.
Yeah. Wow.
I need a second sip on this before I make any
Indeed,
judgments.
yes.
Jesus.
No, that's like orange juice.
Oh,
I get some beer in there.
you guys like tart beers more than I do. That's very fucking tart.
This is pushing the limits for me too. Like,
This is quite tart. Quite fruity.
I'm warming up to it though.
It's definitely a summer beer.
maybe a breakfast beer because it's like orange juice.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I would drink this with bacon and eggs.
I would too. Fits right in line with that.
Something tart to cut through the salty.
Well, it kind of reminds me of a mimosa.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's almost on that level of weird, fruity, but also alcoholic in nature.
Struggling with the tartness.
No, that's pretty good. I
Okay.
like now that I've kind of like acclimated to it.
The first sip is kind of an abrasive.
It is a
jump.
punch to the face.
Yeah.
But once you settle in,
Once you get used to being punched in the face.
it's really not that bad, right?
Again, I'm cheating here. This is more than a 12-ounce can, but
Oh, thank you.
if you're drinking this whole thing, like I can see you getting used to it, and then
it being pretty good.
pretty yeah. Sean's
What do you,
making
what do you
some
guys
faces.
taste? What do you see?
Maybe like a slight vanilla.
I could see vanilla. I get like a guava.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I get a pretty strong guava flavor out of this. Like a tropical fruit tart flavor. Want to do ABV? Should I go first? Or do you want to go first?
I'll go first on this one.
Okay.
I'm gonna guess like a 6.0%.
I'll guess a 5.2.
One of you guys nailed it. Exactly.
Does that mean we get 2 points if
No.
we nail? Oh, just one.
Because I got it exactly before and I didn't get 2 points. So
No.
fuck you. 6%.
Oh,
Jeremy gets the point.
wow.
Wow.
And
Well done.
I have
Thank
to look
you.
up IBU.
I was afraid.
Can I
that
just guess 0?
I was afraid that though, because like 5.2 is like a more specific number than 6.0, and I was like, oh, what goes to Nick? Who knew? Who could have guessed?
I'll guess 15 IBU.
Let me see if they even have it. Because this is not
That's my
hobby beer.
guess. You know what this reminds me of? Is Coconino Common a little bit.
I don't get that at all.
Okay. Conversation ended.
Interesting. You're wrong. I'm having a hell of a time finding IBU. We're gonna say it's a 0 because it's
Yeah.
It's very low.
yeah.
Yeah.
Brewer, right?
Brewer and
Or-
style?
and style.
Go brewer.
No brewer?
Try to guess the brewer.
Like
That one. I'm wrong. Wait, am I actually guessing brewer?
Try to guess brewer. You're not gonna get it, but you might as well guess.
reminds me of a Modern Times. Given Sean's attitude on things, I'll.
What's my attitude?
Yeah, I mean, Modern Times would be a safe bet, even though I know it's wrong.
Tombstone.
Neither.
Really? Wow, I'm shocked.
This is Stillwater Brewing Company, who made the first beer we tried today, or at least that was a collaboration with them.
Oh.
So that was interesting. I was gonna see if I could grab a Stillwater 6-pack. Didn't have quite enough, but I saw this and I was like, that has to be in our beer today.
Can you style?
It is a sour inspired ale. They don't really dive in too much.
That's kind of
on the
lame.
style.
Yeah. So we're done with the guessing on this one.
Yeah, I guess.
Jeremy wins.
Okay, yeah.
Congratulations.
Wow. Okay, but
This is shaken, not stirred. This is
not a beer that 007 would drink.
whiskey sour inspired nitro ale
Oh God.
brewed with cherry, orange peel, lemon, lactose, and oak.
I get those most of the last bits. Maybe not whiskey barrel.
I get a little bit of the whiskey, but then I knew it going in, so I'm not objective.
Nitro is hard to parse from this one, but it makes sense now that I know it.
Nitro is hard to parse because it's hard to determine between CO2 and nitro when it comes to really low ABV, low IBU beers that are also sour.
Yeah.
Because sour cuts through all of that. The
Yeah.
carbonation is something so delicate that you have to kind of,
Okay.
like an oatmeal stout, I can determine whether it's nitro or not. But this is so strong and striking in its flavor that how the hell would you know that?
Yeah.
And I was trying to... I tipped the can before I poured it, or before I opened it, and I tried to pour hard, but then it was like loud as shit when I started trying to pour hard. So I was I reeled back in, and I was like, I'm just gonna pour these. And
Well, to me, it just sounded like a normal.
yeah,
Well, either that, or I could have been like, "Oh, Sean's drunk, he's pouring hard." Yeah. I'm starting to see the lactose in this now that I know it's there. It's subtle, but
I really get the whiskey. I swear to God,
Really?
it's
Okay.
it's a subtle whiskey flavor,
yeah.
but it's just that front end of whiskey, and it's just like at the very beginning of this beer, I get just a hint of it, and then it goes into this sour kind of.
There's so much like lemon or whatever, like that. It just obliterates whatever whiskey's left in this.
To me, it's like the first half a second of drinking a whiskey sour, and then in a whiskey sour, it goes to tasting like whiskey, and in this, it tastes like
Orange
chewing on a
juice.
lemon.
Yeah.
It's like a millisecond of that.
Yeah.
It's very small. That's pretty good.
This is a pretty tasty beer in terms of its sours and stuff.
Sour, a little bit creamy, lots of like tart
the-
citrus flavor.
The creaminess is kind of what I've been missing in sours. Actually, is like, to me, like a lot of sours are like that's pretty sweet, but it's also kind of hollow, kind of like I don't know, like chewing on a Jolly Rancher or something, where it's just kind of like no substance. But this one has a little more body to it, a little more weight.
It's more all over your mouth.
Yeah.
Kind of not just sour and then it's over. It's like there's more to it.
Yeah,
75.
75.
75.
I would at least get a pint of this, if
Yeah.
not a second.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, if Dark Sky made this, sitting in Dark Sky having a beer, maybe you have like some IPA or something, and you're like, I need like
A little something
something
tartar.
lighter,
You're like,
something more
"That's it."
refreshing. You drink this, and you're like, this is all I'm drinking for the rest of the night.
I don't know.
You know, with half of these beers, it's like, man, I could have more than just one. By rating it a 75 or a 60, I'd have another.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Well, that reminds me of what was that scale? The chuggable scale, which was divorced
Yeah.
from the
reality.
That, and also just like it was the y-axis or something was chuggable, and the x-axis was drinkability. And to me, like, wouldn't that be the same thing?
Yeah. This is the last Dark Sky 4th anniversary barrel-aged beer.
High Country Brunch, barrel-aged imperial stout, Colombian blend coffee and Vermont maple syrup, barrel-aged for 12 months in rye whiskey maple syrup barrels. It smells out of this world.
I'm starting to notice the language that is associated with a stout. And it's kind of like we need new adjectives, guys. But
I mean, I don't want to drink motor oil. This is as close to motor oil
for sure.
that I would like to drink. So,
Gentlemen,
cheers.
it's one of those days.
that's what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
Coffee and maple syrup.
And a little bit of rye.
Mm-hmm.
Just a kiss.
Yeah. I don't get rye, but it's definitely like
Oh my god.
coffee and maple syrup all
This
day.
is so good.
It tastes like a coffee candy, like a coffee Werther's.
Yeah.
That's exactly
yeah.
what this tastes like.
Oh man. Especially on the long aftertaste. That's when it really kicks in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when you're like, damn, I could go for that candy right now.
This is an excellent beer. If somebody made this all the time, I would be hard pressed not to order this all the time.
You would like the appeal of this beer to me is if this was available all the time, you would get bored of it. And then nothing would impress you and you would be a horrible person. I just think like the fact that this is like a quite literal once in a lifetime beer.
Whoa.
To me, yeah,
Like,
I mean, yeah.
You will never have anything like this.
To me, this is the ethos of what most stouts want to be. Imperial stouts want to be this is like the golden standard on which we're trying to reach, but we don't. But that's okay. But this actually like hits upon that, and it's great. It's once in a lifetime, like you said. Like
Water flowing underground.
This is like
What
as stouts go, it is completely non-offensive. Like in every like
There's nothing off.
yeah, it perfectly hits upon it, and there's nothing that I can say.
Here's the scale, right? There's Sam Smith, which is like you're 16,
Wow,
you're in
that's pretty
Ireland.
good.
This is pretty okay. Then there's the evil twin oatmeal
Wow,
stout,
that's a great oatmeal stout.
and then there's this, which is like your dad's beer.
Put more of this in my mouth.
Right, yeah. It really is like 3 steps of how good a perfect dark beer can be.
For sure.
I keep desperately trying to find something wrong.
You loathe
And-
to say that it's perfect.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like part of me, there's like a half of my brain that's like, well, I mean, come on, like how good is it? You know, it's just a beer. And then the other half of my brain is like, I'm gonna be very upset when my glass is empty. Like,
Oh, I will
want
be
more of
very
this beer.
I will be very upset.
Oh,
yes.
for sure. Oh my god.
Like I said last time, what was the beer that we had last time that was about a 90?
Parts unknown.
Is like a psychotic beer. It's so extreme and so insane that you have to rate it high because it's like so eclectic and odd and has all these additive flavors that you wouldn't expect within the style. And it does it so well. And it's right on the dot. If there was anything changed, it wouldn't be nearly as good. This is...
The refined professional brother to that.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is This is JFK, and the other one was Bobby Kennedy.
Well, I was gonna say, like, if the past one was like, we've all seen The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. They're all like perfect, like marksmen, like in all sense of the words. Except like the last one we had was like Eli Wallach, this character who was like kind of like this like kind of like weird drunk guy that was just like, whatever. And then this one is like the blondie, if not the bad guy. Yeah. This is like the like
this is Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. This is like on
perfection
mark.
of Western classics.
I was gonna say that this tastes like John Wayne sounds. Like this is if John Wayne could speak into my taste buds, it's this. It's just like smooth and like powerful but refined. Like
yeah. Well,
not
this is
aggressive, but like you don't fuck with that.
This is what noir detectives drink in like movies and shit.
Yeah. This is the shadows in noir films.
Yeah. Like perfect execution of.
I don't want to speak for all of us, but this is at least an 80.
I was going to give it above an 80.
I'm having a hard time rating this below the last one. And I really don't want to give consecutive 90s on this podcast. But...
Well, I'm glad, because remember last episode how I was like, we'll save the best for last?
Yeah.
At least I was at least somewhat right in that aspect. This is extremely good.
And very boozy. But like it like pairs perfectly. 13.1%. And it's all there. But
that's
it's
okay.
not like an aggressive. It doesn't like kick you in the teeth. It's like a good.
There's no heat.
Yeah, this is a beer that deserves to be a little boozy.
Damn.
It's back to the metallic flavor. It's like a lot of times that's an off flavor, and the same thing with alcohol. Sometimes you get a beer that's like hot, but then to me, like just a little bit of the boozy flavor goes perfect. And especially with a beer like this, it's like it's made to have. You have to have a little bit of booze in it.
To go back to like the Western
Parallel.
parallel, yeah. It's like I wouldn't put this in like the Clint Eastwood Man with No Name like paradigm. It's more of the Lee Van Cleef thing where he's like he wears all black and he's like super good at like quick drawing.
Just a badass.
And he's just, this is a badass fucking beer and it's like perfection and he's kind of classy but he's also like because it's so boozy he's
I'll
like
kill you.
Yeah. And so it's like it's a little dangerous. You got to watch out, but like
it's a little dangerous.
But this beer is still like the perfect like on the mark version of what a imperial stout can be.
Pinpoint accuracy.
Yes.
Exactly.
Can you find anything wrong with this beer?
No.
Me neither.
It's the perfect combination of booze, rye, dark boozy flavor,
The rye,
and
to
then
me,
sweetness.
That little rye, like, is to me, it's like bringing you in as like this sweet maple flavor, and then it goes right into this like bitter coffee note,
and then
the rye like perfectly wraps it up. It's like this bookend.
Yeah,
to the whole flavor.
I said I didn't notice it before, but now totally like
there it is.
The end of this, the last flavor you feel is the rye in that, and it's perfect.
It closes it.
That it's like a 3-part act
Yeah.
of beer, and it hits you, and then
If any part of that was bigger or smaller, this is an okay beer. But
like we were losing our shit over the last one, but like this one is actually like if the last one is experimental, this one is perfection of
dead
form.
on the money.
Yeah.
We lost our shit last time because we were so surprised that the saltiness goes so well with the orange rind and then the boozy.
Yeah.
It was like so insane.
Yeah.
And it was so good at the same time. This is what we expect from a dark beer.
The last one was good because it was surprising how good it was. This is good because this is exactly what you hope it's going to taste like. 95.
Holy shit! I was hesitant to go 90, but
so
like,
this is the best beer you've ever
This
had.
is the best beer I've ever had in my life.
this
is better than KBS, which I love, CVS, which I love, Bourbon County, which I love, all of the same, whiskey barrel aged style, but this just has that extra note there's like one thing different. And that pushes it over the edge. This is an insane beer.
Oh my god! Yeah, I don't know. It's either a 90 or 95, but like, I really want to give it a 95 because literally, this is like maybe there is a beer out there, and maybe it's on like the tail end, like the very far end of this bell curve of beer. I kind of want to stick with my 90 just because I don't want to sound biased by your opinion, so 90, but like holy shit, yes, like this is in that echelon.
This is at least once in a lifetime.
Oh, for sure.
Which is a 90. I will split the difference.
92 and a half.
Yeah, 92, 93.
By far the best beer I've had on this podcast, and that was after having an absolute banger of a beer the last episode we just did.
It's kind of hard to rate IPAs and pales against darks. It's kind of hard to compare the two. This is definitely the best dark beer I've ever had.
Not to like beat the movie references into the ground here, but like this is like the Hattori Hanzo of beer, in that like he like in the movie Kill Bill, he only makes like however many swords in his life, and this is kind of like one of those.
Yes,
like
yes,
you have to go to the specific part. Like the only way I can imagine a beer that would be better than this is you have to go to a specific person to get this.
Not a specific brewery. A dude. You have to go find a guy.
A guy whose name is on the label.
Yeah,
like,
who, back to what we were saying before, a dude who, like, makes shit in his garage, and you're like, this is either going to be the best beer I've ever had in my life, or this
the
has
worst.
acetone in it and it's going to kill me. Like,
Yeah.
And then you end up murdering all the people who've wronged you in your life
Yeah.
with
all the Voodoo Rangers, all the Bud Lights,
Those are the
all of these SunUp.
strike them down.
Yeah.
I look forward to the day I have a beer better than this. I don't know when that will be.
That's got to be a damn good beer, huh?
Yeah. Next time you come through Arizona, stop in Flagstaff. Come say hi to Dark Sky. They've got, at any given time, they've got about 10, 15 beers on tap. And they are overwhelmingly fantastic. You should come by, have a beer with Dark Sky, show them some love. And if you have a brewery like Dark Sky in your area, show them some love too. Let us know about them. And we'd love to hear about it. This has been Beer Right Back, the Lounge Beer Podcast. Thank you for joining us. Have an excellent night.